For 20 years now, Jerome Reuter, aka Rome, has been stomping around the musical underground like the world's most bookish warlord. Through endless touring and a conveyor belt of concept albums that actually mean something, he's managed to build this fan base stretching from Berlin to LA, even Sydney to Saigon, and even so far as Lisbon to Kyiv. Now, basically everywhere except maybe whatever bunker Céline's ghost is hiding in, you will find a Rome fan. Fueled by literary influences ranging from Burroughs to Brecht and Hesse to Jünger, you know, all the authors that your edgy friend pretends to have read, Rome has carved out his own moody, philosophical musical niche. For those of you who aren't familiar with him, imagine European folk and Chanson traditions taking a road trip with post-punk and industrial, arguing the whole way around existentialism. That's what you get when you listen to Rome. And now, after wrapping up a Victory Lap 20th anniversary tour, which included Australia, he's ushering in a new era with two shiny new albums, The Tower and The Hierophant. Because apparently one ambitious record just isn't enough for Jerome. Now let's get stuck into The Tower. The Tower is basically Jerome Reuter gazing inward, asking the big questions and inviting you to join him in the metaphorical labyrinth. At its core lies the great work, which sounds like something you'd see tattooed on a philosophy major, but here it's all about sacrifice, growth, and trudging toward the light like a very poetic moth. The titular tower is presented like some metaphysical lighthouse/fortress that humanity built to remind itself not to suck so much. It's not a retreat for your favourite yoga influencer turned mystic, but an actual spiritual outpost for resistance, resilience, and maybe the occasional brooding stare into the fog. Rome's lyrics, which are dense, demanding, and dripping in existential dread, ask listeners to step out of the dopamine-addled noise of modern life and sit in the stillness for a moment. At a time when society worships convenience, cloud, and chaos, the Tower offers the anti-scroll antidote. Beautifully crafted music that demands you to shut up, sit down, and actually pay attention. It's majestic, uncompromising, and guaranteed to leave you changed, or at the very least quietly unsettled. If the Tower is the deep, introspective soul search, then the Hierophant is the weird, mystical pilgrimage you take after you've stared into your own abyss for too long. Inspired by the idea that poetry might be the closest thing we have to truth, this album is the spiritual sibling, or possibly even the cryptic cult recruiter, of Rome's latest work. Here, Reuter leads listeners on a symbolic journey from secret harbours to sorrow-soaked riverbanks and into the mythical north. Through the atmospheric guitars and cryptic lyrics, the album searches for my frail ambassador, a figure who sounds like someone you would meet in Act 2 of a very emotionally expensive RPG. The songs hover somewhere between prophecy and fever dream, offering comfort and dread, like receiving a hug from a ghost that smells like old libraries. Musically, the stripped-back folk elements are still here, but deployed with the deliberate flair of someone casting spells in slow motion. There's sparse percussion, shimmering strings, and Reuter's strongest lyrical work, which makes this feel less like a traditional album and more like an initiation ritual. Each track unfolds like a coded scripture, begging for multiple replays, preferably in a dim room lit by like a candle with wax melting off the candelabra. Rome's double release, The Tower and The Hierophant, is basically this twin-engine mystical machine, built for anyone who likes the music, poetic, existential, and a little bit culty. They're designed to be consumed together like, I don't know, dark chocolate and darker chocolate, or wine and cheese or something like that, offering two complementary sides of Rome's evolving artists' universe. So this one's out December 19th, just in time for Christmas. It's not to be missed. And in a world where lots of mainstream artists get a lot of attention, keep an eye on this one. It's not disposable, and it's definitely not devoid of ambition. So yeah, check this out. That's it for me. See you guys later.